We're back. So this is Alicia, and I'm here with Lisa
Hello.
and DEIDRE.
Hi.
And today is all about representation. Do you need it or do you not?
Welcome to Community Real Estate Roots, Agents Building Relationships, where we explore the heart of real estate through meaningful connections. Join Alicia, DEIDRE, and Lisa as they guide you through stories behind every sold sign and dive into how agents nurture communities, one home and one relationship at a time.
Do we need representation or do we not?
That's a magic question.
Seems
Do
to be the
we?
question of the year, honestly.
Yeah, especially in our industry, but in really anything.
I mean, you've got to think of what do you do in your most everyday life that you have representation for that you don't even realize it's representation.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why would you not have representation specialist who knows
that's
the ins
their
and outs
area
of that?
expertise.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
It's
it's
a lot of money to invest in something without having somebody who knows what they're doing.
right. So it's like, would you go to court without a lawyer?
I would not represent myself. Nope.
And yeah,
Nope.
I mean, we've seen the movies where the person stands up, stands up there and represents themselves, and they're like doing off. I had somebody the other day that was talking about it, and they brought up divorce, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, and he goes, well, think about it. Would you decide to save money and say, oh, I'm just going to use my spouse's attorney? That way we can save some money and do that. So what, do you think you're going to get the best side of that divorce if you're using your spouse's attorney?
No, because your spouse's attorney is looking out for the spouse.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Not you.
So why
Would you do that?
represent yourself in when you're going to look for a house? Do you
Yeah.
know everything about it?
I mean, most people don't. I mean, I sure didn't when I was looking for a house.
Well, I watch it on TV and it looks pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because it takes 30 minutes to find a house. You get to walk through 3 and you make the decision and you move in within 30 minutes. That's what it says
And
on TV.
and the third one is being remodeled, and it's done all in that time span.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't forget, they're built. What? 30 minutes, 45 minutes is built. And
Yeah, it's
you
done.
can move right on
We
in.
can move. Yeah, we can move. We can move right on
No,
in.
you need
Right.
representation. Even in new construction, you need representation. Even in land, you need representation.
So you're telling me, and I just want to reiterate, I love some new construction. New construction is my jam. If anybody follows my socials, I love some new construction.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say I don't. So you're telling me that I can't just walk up to a new construction model home. Should I walk in there and talk to the agent?
I mean, you should have your own agent who's looking out for you, who's negotiating in your best interest.
Exactly, because that agent that is in that model home that is representing them is representing the seller, the builder.
The builder.
Mm-hmm.
They're there for the builders, not for you.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, I know some great agents that work in the show homes, and
Oh, absolutely.
very sincere, and and they'll be the first to tell you too, yes, I can help you, but most of the time they do advise that you have your own representation. You know, Alicia has a great story that's personal about new construction.
So one of the reasons I got into real estate was because I had such a hard time with my first transaction. So I decided to build. We went and picked out a lot. It was at a model home with an agent. And we picked out the lot. We picked out everything we wanted, did blinds, did everything. We picked the colors, the granite, everything. Well, we come one day and there is a sprinkler system in the front yard, and we didn't ask for a sprinkler system because I'm one of those. I will plug it in a hose and let it go. I don't need that. And that was the extra $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
But my agent at the time called it. And the thing is, I was going to be charged for that. If my agent hadn't have noticed that, it was going to be rolled right into that price, and I would have been charged for a sprinkler system that I didn't even want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you would, between all the numbers on the document, it's kind of like reading Chinese. I don't know how to read Chinese, but that's why it kind of looks like that. You don't really know where some of those numbers
Come from.
are. You know, I'm a big trust but verify person, and that's what representation does for you. You have somebody that you trust helping you with
The verification and
verification, and Deidre, to your point, one of the largest investments that you're going to make, and that agent verifies
yeah.
all the way down to, even if it's not new construction.
No.
We get an ALTA statement. Some places call it a HUD statement, but nonetheless, before you go to the closing table, it's our responsibility to check those numbers before we get to the closing table on the next day. Because if one thing is wrong and it affects the lending process, you're not closing.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
And you'll be amazed at how often that does actually
Yes.
happen.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you'll be amazed at how many times someone is buying land. Land is a big thing. You buy land, and I had someone who came to me and said, you know, I want representation because I had bought land and I thought it was X amount of acres. Well, I bought it from someone. They gave me all the paperwork. I went and tried to sell it. It wasn't even that amount of acres. It was like 3 or 4, acres less. And so they've been in court ever since. I mean, they've been in court for 3 years now over a couple of acres.
So they didn't have an agent when they were.
They did not have an agent.
Wow.
They did. And then that same person tried to buy some acreage after that from someone else. And he's like, well, I'm going to have a survey done. Well, she wouldn't let him have a survey done. So he's like, you know what? I'm not cut out for this on my own stuff. I need to have somebody represent me so I can get a survey. And have the surveys checked. I know of people who have a survey. It was some, I don't know how to phrase this. Some surveyor who should not have been a surveyor, who did the survey, handwritten survey, and it didn't match up with what.
Okay, well, that's key number one. If somebody drew a survey with a pencil,
Yeah,
It
was
is
it
2024. We don't
No,
draw
this was back
anything
in
by
the day.
you should not have an appraisal that was written with a pencil. Just FYI.
Yes. Well, this was a survey, and it was, it was printed and everything, but it didn't match what the states have. Like when you go to the courthouse, it didn't match. And so these people bought this land and bought the stuff on it, and people don't realize in certain places you can't put trailers on your land.
No,
Well, you're just buying it from somebody. Well, I've got a trailer. Sure, you can put trailers everywhere. No, you can't.
I mean, things change. It could have been rezoned.
I was to say they're probably standing on that piece of land and they see one in the distance. Oh, I can put one here. Well,
It's already got one.
you
why
have
not
to
add
make
another
sure what the restrictions, especially with land. Land has so many restrictions.
Yes. So many things that you need to do. Perk test. You need to have all the things, there's a lot of things that you have to do.
Well,
But you need an agent who knows
yes.
What to do?
exactly.
Well, and you have an agent that says, "Oh no, we are having a survey." They have the right to have a survey.
And you need a perk test. You can't just go build any willy-nilly place.
But do you know actually why you?
You did it again.
I did it again.
We did a bell. Ding.
I'm gonna have to tie my hands together
Will Lisa make it through one episode
without hitting the microphone.
Nope.
Do you really know why you have to have a perk test?
Why?
It's not because of building the home. It's to make sure that the proper sewer system can go in. So it's a septic system. You can't just put a septic system anywhere. So if this, to your point with the building part, if you find the perk place to put the septic system, but there's no place to build the house, then you can't build. You can't build the house.
So, all that being said, you really need representation of somebody who knows what county has what rules and, jurisdictions. And you need somebody who knows what they're talking about.
And just also know with that, us as agents, we can give you all the information. We can rattle it off. We can tell you exactly what it is. But at the end of the day, we're also going to say, go to the county courthouse, and this is what I want you to ask them. I need you to verify it because you're the one that's purchasing it to make sure it's correct. You should always verify the items.
Yeah.
Again,
Trust but verify.
trust but verify. You beat me. You beat me to it. Same thing with school. I mean, same thing with
School
schools.
zones. Yes.
People will swear that what that school, nope, I know exactly what that elementary school is. Well, it got rezoned 6 months ago.
Yep. And if you don't know, Alabama is a buyer beware state. So your agent really needs to step up and help you with that.
Well,
because
and that's the other reason that you need an
Representation.
agent, because the only thing a seller has to disclose to you is latent defects. So they know there's a hole in the roof. They have to tell you there's a hole in the roof.
You have to explain what latent defects is because a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, they don't. Latent defect would be an example I just gave you. There's a hole in the roof. You should not live in a house with a hole in the roof.
Nope.
They have to disclose that. If there's a water leak in the house, they have to disclose. They are supposed to disclose that. They always don't disclose that.
Yeah.
because once again, Alabama is buyer beware. So it'll fall back on the buyer. So that's why you need the representation to walk you through.
You need the representation along with that. The positive thing about Alabama, because buyer beware state sounds kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to buy anything in the state. We're also a buyer agency state where you agree to the agency and you understand what we're going to do for you, that the real estate commission holds us accountable for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what else is an example of representation? Would you, if you needed a tooth pulled, would you go to the emergency room?
I would tie a piece of floss around it and
And you would pull it yourself?
No.
I want to see that next time you want to do that.
Well, I'm not doing it anymore. All my teeth are burning.
I was like when I was 7. I did that once.
No, you would go to a dentist, someone who is certified. They have the degree for it, all the history of knowledge to pull that tooth.
Yep.
Yeah. Would you just have a bunch of people go build you a pool? All your buddies go start digging and build you a pool? No, because you don't know. It would be cheaper, but you need somebody who knows
Right.
where, what to do.
First of all, where can you put the pool?
Exactly. Are you allowed to have a
You can't
pool
just
in your
start
subdivision?
digging. I mean, what if you have a septic system out there?
Mm-hmm.
You need that person.
You need somebody who can see all that stuff.
You need a pool person
You need a professional.
tell you where you can put a pool in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, to me, when you talk about representation, no matter what it is,
Mm-hmm.
you need the expert in that. And if you need to know anything about real estate, maybe you're purchasing now, you're not purchasing now. Maybe you're thinking about selling down the road, and that's the other one. A lot of people think they don't need representation to sell their house. I can just do it myself.
Crazy.
Where are they going to get a contract from?
Yeah.
Do they know how to read the contract?
What attorney are they going to pay to close the property?
Yeah, because if who's going to buy it, they're going to have an agent. So they're going to be represented by an agent, most
then
likely.
let's turn that around. Do you think that agent is going to be looking out for this
The
seller?
sellers, no.
Absolutely not. That
No.
agent is looking out for the buyer in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So why not have someone representing you selling?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more when you go to sell a house than I say putting the sign in the front yard.
So much more. That's what you've got to get it ready. Like, people think we literally, okay, we want to sell this house, let's put a sign in, and boom, it's done.
You got to see if there's tax liens. You got to see if there's any kind of, anything that needs to be paid off,
Addressed.
or all kind of things.
Yeah, you need to make sure that there's no surprises when you get to the closing. When you get to the closing table.
Yeah,
Because that's
And there
the
can be
surprise you don't
surprises
want.
there that you don't know about.
Yeah, and it may be surprises that, like, I had another example. I had someone who was selling their house. They paid cash with this brother. I think it was like two brothers and a sister. They paid cash for this. They had the title. They had all the things. Well, when he went to go sell his land, well, it wasn't all his house. It wasn't all transferred over because something, I forget now what happened, but or all the aspects of it. But it was when they transferred the title, they only took one of the people's name off, so the two brothers' names was still on the title with his. So that he didn't have someone who was correctly doing it to make sure that it was done correctly. So that held us up on selling his property. So there's all kind of things that you
Can pop up.
that we would see,
Right.
that we would know to look for, that just the average Joe wouldn't know to look for.
I've had it before. I love to run pre-title on a house just to make sure that, there's not going to be anything on our side that's going to do something. And these were great. I sold them a house. I knew who they were just great clients. I'd known them for a long time. And nonetheless, showed up on the title is somebody's name that was almost identical to the seller's, ended up showing up on all of his paperwork information, which he didn't know was there. That had to be removed.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to do it right that second? Not necessarily, but if you get to the closing table and it's
And
on
find that
there,
out.
right?
It's going to
You have to-
delay closing.
Right, because this is funny, the first time I ever heard this, you have to quiet the title. And I'm like,
I know.
is the title yelling at you?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have to quiet a title?
Quiet the title.
It has to be quiet because it can't have stuff on there. Like the example you just gave, DEIDRE, that title needed to be quiet because there was too much stuff on there that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Crazy.
anything else on representation?
Just interview someone, get the information, and make your own decision. We gave you many examples of why you need representation.
There's so many ways it can go wrong.
It's so many ways.
And you
Most of
won't
the
know till
time,
it's
and
too late.
most of the time it doesn't. But that's also, you don't know. But
Well,
that's also why you need
Another
an
thing,
agent to check it out.
because some people don't realize what we're doing in the background. I
Right.
literally had a closing, I guess it's been about 2 months ago, and my client came up to me in the end and was like, I didn't realize what all you were doing in the background.
Mhm.
I didn't know that this was an issue. Nope, because I handled it without bothering you with it.
Right.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that was an issue. Well, I went ahead and handled that too.
Mhm.
There's so much being done too in the background that people don't realize.
We don't want, I'll say we and me, I don't like for my clients to be, this is supposed to be a wonderful experience.
Right. It's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun. I don't like stuff that's not fun. So there's things that can happen. It's not that it's so much their information that needs to be corrected. It could be something on the list side. Something happened and you and that other agent need to get it worked out. Again, hence why you need representation on both sides. There's no sense for me to stress you out on something you really don't have any control over, but that's why we're here, is to take that
burden off
we
of
take
you.
that burden off of you.
Absolutely. Anything?
What else, ladies?
I think that is about it. What do y'all think?
I think they should call us and ask more about representation.
Yeah. If you have
Absolutely. Or you can slide into our DMs in a good way and ask us
a good way.
about
Yeah.
representation.
Yeah.
So,
If you have a specific question, we would love to help you.
yes. Well, thank you again for joining us for another episode, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Your Neighbor, Your Agents. To contact Alicia, DEIDRE, or Lisa, please visit www.yourneighboryouragents.com.